Hello there. Oh, did that work? I don't know. Did that work? You know what? It probably didn't work, so I'm gonna go with it anyway. Hello there. So, by the guess of the top, I did Obi-Wan Kenobi's famous line. So, I'm not gonna beat around the bush today. Today, I'm literally just gonna go into it. Today's video, and the title will be The Galactic World of Star Wars. Hey. So, I've been wanting to do Star Wars for a while now because, there's 9 brilliant films. They are really fantastic. All started in 1977, if I get my years right, which I think I have. Started off with A New Hope, featuring Mark Hamill, Alec Guinness, Carrie Fisher, Harrison Ford, Peter Mayhew. Didn't include Frank Oz back then. Who else did they include? James L. Jones as the voice of Darth Vader, who pretty much, nearly started off. Like Anthony Daniels as well, Kenny Baker. You know, those two as the two droids, C-3PO and R2-D2. So, yeah, I mean, 1977. What a year. Like, who would have thought that they'd be bringing proper big sci-fi stuff? Like, obviously you already had sci-fi. Like, you had Doctor Who, you had Star Trek. But you had quite a lot of the stuff in the 70s. Like, there was always a lot more stuff coming into it. Like, the 70s seemed to be where it all really happened. Like, you've had pretty much everything. But then, just one day in 1977, George Lucas made Star Wars A New Hope, and hell, quite a lot of people still watch it today. Like, they go back all the way to the beginning, and then in 1999, which was the year I was born, fantastic year, thank you! Or specifically, May 1999, 2 months before I was born, they brought out A Phantom Menace, or rather, The Phantom Menace. And then, 2015, December, they brought out A Force Awakens. Or is it The Force Awakens? I cannot think. But it's absolutely brilliant. Like, the whole of Star Wars is just absolutely fantastic. And honestly, with entertainment like that, I don't know how far it can go, because even now, Star Wars is still doing a whole bunch of projects. In fact, there is so many new projects being made, like things from further back, but brought somehow into the present to actually make these newer projects work. Like, they've just been really, really inventive with it. We've had so much. We've had like 9 films in total. We've had a bunch of like spin-off series, like animation and live action, and quite frankly, it's just been brilliant. It really has. I've loved what Star Wars have done. Like, they've done some really good stuff. Not everything I've watched, I'll admit. I'm still trying to work myself up to watch Andor. I'm still trying to work myself up to watch that. I watched the first 4 episodes, but then that's been it ever since then. The Mandalorian, I remember watching that when Disney Plus first came about. That was absolutely fantastic. You had the Clone Wars, the animation series, and hell, that worked. And then Star Wars Rebels. So let's get into it then. So, my history with the films. So, my first film was actually Revenge of the Sith in 2005. I didn't really know anything about Star Wars back then. 2005, I would have only been, I'd have only been 6 years old. So, that was it for me at that point. I went to see this. I went to go see Revenge of the Sith in the cinemas, and me experiencing Star Wars for the first time, I had literally no idea what the hell was going on. I had no idea who, like, Obi-Wan Kenobi was. Appreciation. I had no idea who Anakin Skywalker was. I didn't understand what the whole deal was with the clones, or with the droids, or even lightsaber fights. I had no idea. It was just like a whole big question in my head. That's seriously what Star Wars felt for me at the beginning. A big, massive question. I did not understand it at all. I didn't even understand the Jedi getting killed. I was just like sitting there in the cinema, 6 years old, thinking, what is going on here? Why are they just killing them? What is going on? I mean, it makes more sense later on when you do watch it again. It definitely makes sense. But me, at that time, I'm just like, what is this? Baffled. Completely, utterly baffled. So, yeah, but, I started watching the other films. I started watching the prequels. I think that's what they call it, the early days, like the 90s and then the early 2000s. But then I started watching. Well, I was actually a lot older when I started watching A New Hope and stuff like that. Because An Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. Like, I had them on video mostly. I had some of them on video, but like, when watching them, I was still just like really confused. Like, I basically remember with Attack of the Clones when I first started watching that, I didn't even watch it. In fact, I probably fell asleep halfway through it and probably woke up to the part where Anakin and Padme were somewhere on Naboo with those big flipping creatures, and then somehow fallen asleep again, completely missing the battle on Geonosis, but managing always to see the scene between Count Dooku, Obi-Wan, and Anakin fight. And that was literally my favourite part of it back then. Because, you see, as a film, like, when you're a kid, you point out certain aspects of the film. You know exactly which bit you like. You know exactly which part you're always going to want to watch. That was it for me. That was literally it for me in Attack of the Clones. That was my scene always. I always want to watch the fight scene. And I also forgot Yoda included in that. Oh, and also a reminder to myself as well, because I was kicking myself for this after my last video, the Comedy Medley Part 2. I am literally continuing on from that for about 10 seconds. I forgot the Big Bang Theory. I completely forgot about it. That is also another one in my favourite comedy sketches. That's another one. Big Bang Theory. Woohoo! Hey, I actually did get through the 10 seconds. Back to Star Wars. I had to put it in there. I just had to. And also, I also found out who JB Walton 03 was. Apparently, he's a former colleague of mine. Mind baffled, I know who he is. Big appreciation there. But no, before I see if I can talk about any more rubbish that I probably am really wrong about, let's get into the favourites. And these are in order. They might not be in the order that everyone expects, but we all have our opinions, so no haters, please. So, my first Star Wars film, the one that I love, at the top, my favourite one, and it just happens to be the one I mentioned, is my first film that I saw. Revenge of the Sith, 2005. Fantastic film. I mean, for as lengthy as it is, it's brilliant. It really, really is. And, I mean, honestly, it was fantastic. absolutely fantastic. I mean, hell, you get to like halfway of the scene. I mean, halfway of the film, you're on Order 66, and you've still got over an hour left. Like, they had one hell of a budget, and apparently that's not even the full length of the film. There's like another hour into it. Make it happen, please do. Put that extra bit in. It needs doing. A second film, and I know this is a bit of an unusual one. The Rise of Skywalker. Again, might not be everyone's opinion, but yeah, Rise of Skywalker is my second favourite. 2019, or rather 2019, I remember going to see it in the cinema with my two best friends, Michael and Ben. We went to go see it. We went to see it in 3D. You're welcome, boys, because I bought those tickets. Yes, I did. Yeah, it was a really, really good film. I remember watching all three trailers of it in like 2018 going into 2019, because I remember they had like three different trailers for it, and all of them were shown at like different conventions around the world, like not just Comic-Con events but like Disney events too, and it was all just like really big anticipation for it. I remember it because like Ian McDiarmid coming back to it as Emperor Palpatine, that was one hell of a surprise. I remember watching the very first trailer, and I was actually watching it live because they had a convention live for it. And at the end of the trailer, Ian McDiarmid, he literally was on the stage, and he said, "Play it again." He did it in his Emperor's voice, and it was absolutely fantastic. The film, like watching the final trailer for it, the music, oh my god, so emotional. I watched that trailer like 5 times when it first came out. I literally woke up at like 2 o'clock in the morning to watch it, and it didn't even turn up, but it was like 5 o'clock in the morning it went on there. So that was proper dedication. My next film is, and this is gonna be a big one for people. It was 1983's Return of the Jedi. Now, I definitely remember watching Return of the Jedi as a kid. It was fantastic. Absolutely loved it. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, just the action in it, that final fight between Vader and Luke, it was just really, really good. Like, it was absolutely incredible. And you also had like Lando Calrissian back again, Billy D. Williams. You had him back from Empire Strikes Back, and it was just a really good film. Like, we've seen all the films where the whole cast has came together, but nothing like that. I mean, yeah, you had them in A New Hope and The Empire Strikes Back, but Return of the Jedi, at the end of it, it was just really beautiful. You had all of them together. You had Han, Leia, Chewie, Luke, Lando, 3PO, R2. You even had little Wicket, played by Warwick Davis. Now that was, oh my god, it was so cute. Absolutely cute. But yeah, it was just something about that ending that just made it go over the top. It was incredible. Really, really was. The next film, for me, one I was born in. The year that I was born, 1999, Phantom Menace. Now, that one I'm surprised about. I'm surprised that I put that at 4th. But, I really liked the film. You first see Anakin Skywalker. You see Obi-Wan Kenobi for the first time, played by Ewan McGregor, and you see him in action. You also see Liam Neeson as Qui-Gon Jinn, and yeah, you really get that introduction that you didn't have in the 70s plus 80 films, you don't see them like what you did in these ones. So if these ones you see the Jedi, you're seeing the whole council of the Jedi. You are seeing what everything was based upon before the dark times, before the Empire, pardon the pun. But, you see all of that. You see how light it was, what the Republic was really like. Everything before the rebels and before the Empire, you actually see the Republic versus the Separatists. And yeah, it was just really good. And like I said, with like favourite scenes, obviously for me it was that full fight scene, Duel of the Fates, between Darth Maul, Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan. It was yeah, it was just really brilliant. Like, that's actually, well, it's not the first lightsaber fight, but it was the first one in, how many years would it be? 16 years. So obviously it was a hell of a good thing, and the music to it was just incredible. Like, God knows how long that would have taken to do that, but it was just, it was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Next one for me, Force Awakens. Now, I put that one fifth because 2015, obviously, I remember how excited I was to see that. It looked, it was really, really good. They brought out this whole brand new cast with John Boyega, Daisy Ridley, you had BB-8, Oscar Isaacs. So, yeah, you had like this whole brand new generation to join the franchise of what everyone really loved. Like, you even had BB-8, the new droid. But yeah, you also had back Harrison Ford as Han Solo and Carrie Fisher, and you also had Chewie again. Like, oh my god. Like, it was fantastic to see those three back together again. But I don't know, like, with The Force Awakens, it was a completely brand new thing. Like, when I went to see it, I was really, really shocked. It was surprisingly really good. You also had Adam Driver again as your brand new villain. You had flipping Kylo Ren. Like, when I first saw Kylo Ren on the screen, I'm like, oh god, it's just another guy in a mask. Like, he's another Darth Vader again. But it turns out he was so much more than that. I don't want to say better, because obviously you can't replace Darth Vader. Like, Darth Vader's a one of a kind. But no, like, Kylo Ren was just so, like, badass, and it was, it was really, really good. And the cast was good too. So, yeah. The only issue is, though, is that too many similarities to every other film. Like, you could pretty much see all the references from in there. You could see it all. You could see the references. It was obvious. The next one for me, Attack of the Clones. So, like I said, pinpointed. I've had a better appreciation of it now that I'm older, and it is actually a really good film. I can't really think of what to say for that one. The next one, at number 7. Now, this is where I'm going to get hate. A New Hope. I know. I'm sorry. But, I loved A New Hope. I really did. It was really, really good. But, there are just some stuff in it that just seemed, I don't want to say bad. In fact, I don't know how to pronounce it. But they killed off this guy. Come on, they killed him off. They weren't, like, I heard that they weren't actually meant to kill off Obi-Wan. They didn't want to kill him off in the first film. What the hell? Why do it then? Change your minds last minute. Don't kill him. But, like, with that as well, it's the fight between Vader and Obi-Wan. Like, it felt like it could have been more. But then again, 1970s budget, it wouldn't have been that big back then. But all in all, it was a fantastic film. I've got no problems against it. I love watching it. Like, believe me, I will literally just go one day thinking I want to watch A New Hope. That's what I'll do. The next one for me was The Last Jedi. Now, that one lacked. It lacked something for me. It wasn't all lightsabery. It wasn't all fightery. It was just like, yeah, that's it. A little bit in space. That's it. Just shoot and kill all those people. Few words in there. That's it. That's all I'm saying. It was a good film, but it was not great. And now the last one. And I am so sorry. Empire Strikes Back. I wouldn't be surprised if I lost some subscribers to this, because I'm saying that Empire Strikes Back is my last favourite of it, the last one in the line, and the reason for that is because over the years, I haven't had the same enthusiasm for it. I will admit, the whole I am your father thing, really, really good. The whole seeing Yoda training Luke, really good again, but didn't do it for me. Like, the film is fantastic. It really, really is. But for me, I'm very specific. I'm very particular. Which is fair enough, because you know what? Everyone does have their opinions. Like, people think that Empire Strikes Back is probably the best. But then again, that could be for those who actually grew up with it. With me, I grew up with the 2000s one and the 1999 one. That's what I grew up with. Maybe if I was born earlier, like say if I was born like, I don't know, 30 years earlier, say 1969, I could have been into it. But, I just, I will gladly watch it. I will. I'll gladly watch the film, but it just doesn't get me all enthusiased for it. So, I'm sorry. Okay. And before I get any more hate, let's move on to the TV shows. So I haven't put which ones are my favourite, because quite frankly I love them all. But the biggest highlight, I would say, is definitely the Clone Wars, because started off in the beginning, it carried on from Attack of the Clones, ended with Revenge of the Sith. It got to Order 66, and it had a really good ending. It really did. The Mandalorian with little Grogu. We finally get to see a younger version of Yoda, which people kept on calling Baby Yoda. Turns out his name was Grogu. Who would have known? But I'm really looking forward to the third season of that, and that is coming out on the 1st of March 2023, so I cannot wait to see what that happens. I can't wait to see it. A bigger series for me was Obi-Wan Kenobi. It was absolutely fantastic to see Ewan McGregor back again after 17 years not being in it, and it was amazing to see him back. I was so happy when he announced he was coming back, and you had Hayden as well. You had Hayden coming back to play Anakin Skywalker / Darth Vader. You had the Inquisitors in real life, and not just what you saw in Star Wars Rebels, but honestly, the whole season, it was absolutely fantastic. This is dedication as well, because on the day it came out, I had work. I was literally watching it while I was in the shower, as well as getting dressed and then on the bus. That is proper dedication for me, and those were the first 2 episodes. But that fight between Vader and Obi-Wan again at the end of the 6th episode, wow. Literal wow. Absolutely fantastic. Blew my mind. I'm not joking, it actually did. It was fantastic. I loved it. I got chills. And then obviously I mentioned Star Wars Rebels too. I love that series. It was really good. I got emotional through it. I did. And I loved the cast that they had. It was a good little band of rebels. You had Ahsoka Tano back, you had Darth Vader, you had Maul back again. And yeah, it's a shame they're not doing another series, but that's the end of it. But the upcoming ones, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing are Ahsoka, because I cannot wait to see what Rosario Dawson does with her own version of it, because we saw her in The Mandalorian. But it'd be great. It'll be great to see her in her own series next year. You got the Bad Batch season 2 coming out again next year. The Mandalorian, like I mentioned. And yeah, they've got so much going on with it. So really, I'm looking forward to seeing what the future of Star Wars can do, because honestly, I still think there's a lot to see. Oh, I also forgot the Book of Boba Fett as well. Now that one was a hell of a surprise. I'm really surprised they brought back Boba Fett again. After all that time? I mean, and a live action Cad Bane too. That was needed. That was good. But no, everything about the universe of Star Wars is just absolutely amazing. Those who haven't watched it really, really should, because it's just it's addictive. You really get into it. Hell, I've even got a VR game, Vader Immortal, and that is incredible. But no, I'm actually going to leave it there. I'm going to let those who don't watch Star Wars think about it, and you should watch it, because it is really good. So that is what I'm going to leave for the end of the video today. And instead of thinking about it, I'm going to be going into another preview again, another spoiler. So my next video will be based on Harry Potter. Oh yeah. Harry Potter will be my next video. I don't know when I'll be doing it, but I will make sure I do it. So, thank you to everyone watching the videos. I hope you all like them, and see if there are anyone else who wants to subscribe. And I will see you in the next video. May the Force be with you always.